Okay, so Katie, here's the argument. Hillary lost by an estimated combined 80,000 votes in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. But Podesta is admitting that Hillary fell short by not doing enough campaigning in those states. So which is it? Did Russian bots sway the voters toward Trump, or did Hillary run a bad campaign?
Hillary ran a bad campaign. It had nothing to do with Russia. Russia did, obviously, as we know, try to meddle in the election. However, coming from the memos, coming from what was said on Friday, it had no measurable impact on the outcome of the 2016 election. President Donald Trump won, and it had nothing to do with Russia. And Hillary needs to understand that her loss is on her shoulders. They were sending buses to Michigan to go do rallies, and she turned them around. She had no one to give her good advice, and she had no good advice for herself, and that loss is her fault.
Okay, Danielle, John Podesta, you heard the comments that he still thinks Russia swung the election away from Hillary and toward Donald Trump. That flies in the face of the Mueller indictment, though, because Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein saying on Friday there is no charge that Russia changed the outcome. Let's listen.
There is no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. I want to caution you that everyone charged with a crime is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in court.
What's your reaction, Danielle?
You know, 3 words, Liz, in the indictment. So I think Democrats and Republicans are seeing what they want to see in this 37-page indictment, this charging materials.
He was pretty clear there, though, right?
What's that, sorry?
He was pretty clear there, though, right?
Yes, in the indictment, as charged, these 13 individuals and the Russian organization. I think there's a broader thing. There are broader things at play here. We had the DNC hack. We had the Podesta hack. We had Clinton's admittedly own email behavior that was clearly problematic and was talked about in the media sort of ad nauseum. So there were some unforced errors by the Clinton campaign. Certainly, there were their own problems, but there was more than just the bots and the Twitter accounts and the Facebook accounts. We had WikiLeaks and other things that were pouring really damaging information into the public sphere over a number of months in the lead up to the election.
And Hillary blaming James Comey. It's all boiled down to the use of her private email server as well. That story was out there, too. You know, people, let's switch to this story. This is about your money, because this is really an interesting finding. There's more 401k millionaires out there. Did you know that? New numbers show the number of 401k millionaires almost doubled this year to 150,000. And the number of women who are 401k millionaires doubled over the last decade. What do you think, Katie? Many on social media crediting the economic policies of Trump, running up the market gains to about $8 trillion so far since the election. What do you think?
America is certainly feeling his policies, and more we're feeling what he did on tax reform. It is helping everyone, lower class, middle class, upper class. Everyone is feeling a boon from what he did. You can see from the money businesses are pouring back into America, from the bonuses, from the raises they are giving, from the expanded benefits that employees are receiving. And of course, we're also seeing it in things like 401ks. So I don't think anyone can argue, no matter left, right, or center, what the president has done, what Congress has passed with tax reform is absolutely making America a more prosperous place for everyone to live in.
You know, Priorities USA, super PAC that was run by Democrat Jennifer Granholm, Danielle, saying, you know what, the Democrats need an economic message, a policy to cohere around, because their internal polling show that Trump's approval rating is going up double digits, and now the Democrats are afraid about the midterms. Go ahead.
You make a really strong point, and certainly the tax reform plan has been very effective for Donald Trump and the Republicans, because Americans are seeing more money in their pocketbooks on a monthly basis, and that is a good thing. Americans are keeping more of their money. You know, Democrats have always been the party of the working class, and I think they need to redirect their messages to those roots. Obviously, Donald Trump was elected on a wave of populism, but historically, Democrats have really been there for the working class, whether that's tax reform, whether that's labor unions, whether that's health and safety. They've always been there for the working class, and I think that's a really important message to go back to.